This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Percolator, what's up, dude?
Big O, they did what they had to do, right? I said this should have been guaranteed victory day, except you can't guarantee anything this year.
No, but and as the game was going on, I'm taking notes. Okay, Tua held on to the ball too long there. Fumble, you almost lost it. You burn a timeout after coming out of a break. I start going through all the little things that went on throughout the game. At the end of the game, the throw to Smythe made no sense on 3rd and 10. Bro, just run the ball. Don't risk a turnover there. Just get in the field goal position. I could just go on and nitpick all the little things that went. But then I said in the end, you know what? This is who they are anyways. Julian Hill's going to screw up every game. This is who they are. What are we going to do? But if they won, that's what I told the Dolphin Nation. Dude, just be grateful that they won. They found a way to get it done. If we're also going to demand style points, forget it, dude. We're dead in the water, too, on top of all of that. Just find a way to win. And that's what they did, Perk. They found a way to win.
They did, Big O. And so we give them credit for that. However, and there's always a however, is this going to be good enough to beat Houston, San Francisco, or Green Bay? And to me, that's what your season is down to now, right? That, look, I'm going to assume the victory today against the Raiders. I'm going to assume that Patriots victory is what you're doing now good enough to go up to Green Bay on Thanksgiving and win? Is what you're doing now good enough to go to Houston and win? Is what you're doing now good enough to beat San Francisco here in your house? The Jets and Cleveland and the rest, whatever. You've got to be good enough to beat the best teams remaining on your schedule. And to me, that's kind of what this game is about. That's what next week is about. You're ramping up to Green Bay. Here's what we can do against Green Bay. Here's what we can't do, because those are the 3 most important games on your schedule. I know now the Patriots is the next game. It's the most important. Big O, I'm giving them the Patriots victory. I don't care if it's 7-6.
I mean,
I don't care if it's 7-6, 45.
Defeated against them throughout the Belichick era. Now he's going to lose. That would kind of suck. You know what I'm saying?
That would. So, and look, I'm grateful for the victory, and I liked some of the stuff, a lot of the stuff that I saw out there, the 12 and 14 play drives that aren't set back by penalties, that you don't get behind the chains, you convert the 3rd downs, you're calling a smart game, Mike McDaniel, for the most part, right? Jonnu Smith. I mean, yes, so Jonnu Smith has emerged as their best tight end since Charles Clay, and so
right now he's become the number 1 weapon, bro.
Yes, I know, Big O. That's who would have thought that midway through the season, right? I mean, you roll with the punches, right? I guess that's what this is all about right now.
So let me ask you something. I asked David Furones, and he had nothing for me. I don't know if you have any news. Is Jordan Poyer taking the fight now?
Well, he had an improved.
Wait, you're not picking up on it. Is he taking the fight now? Now that he can no longer play football, is he going to fight Paul now is the question, because everybody that's over the fucking hill and can't do anything goes and fights Jake Paul. So I would imagine Jordan Poyer has been a waste, a terrible free agent. And again, he proved it today. I'm just wondering, has Jake Paul offered him a fight?
Well, here's the thing, and not as far as I know, but if I was him, I'd take it. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here, because we have seen Durham Smythe lose snaps. We've seen David Long get demoted and then waived. It's going to be interesting. We saw Raheem Mostert lose carries. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here with Jordan Poyer, because, missing that tackle was not good on Brock Bowers, right? That was not good. We've seen the head shot up in Buffalo. We've seen some costly coverage busts, bad angles, bad penalties. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Jordan Poyer, because no, he is not playing up to standards.
Campbell's healthy, right?
Elijah, yes.
Okay, so all I've seen from Elijah Campbell is a player that's been a true pro, a solid pro, and he's gotten better since he's been in a Dolphins uniform. But he hasn't had this kind of an opportunity yet. And I'm just wondering, I get Jordan Poyer was, free signed. We were hoping that he would help. Hasn't been. So is Campbell not the guy to play that position? Is he more of a free? Do they not feel that he's better? He can handle the more strong area. I don't know. You tell me.
I have to think that they look at Elijah Campbell as more of a special teams specialist at this point because, look, he's got an opportunity here, right? They just opened the return window, the 21-day window for Patrick Morris, the rookie 6th round safety, and so if you're thinking about him with Elijah out there, it's kind of like, wow, what's going on with Elijah from scrimmage?
Right.
Elijah has been a good special teams player, but yeah, from scrimmage, I would think that they would want to replace Jordan Poyer or at least light a fire under him, put some pressure on him. I mean, and look, the fact that they replaced David Long, a team captain, a guy who players voted a team captain in August, and by mid-November he's gone. It shows me that at this point, Mike McDaniel is willing to make changes. Again, Durham Smythe, Raheem Mostert, David Long. I just have to think that at this point they haven't seen a better option, to Jordan Poyer out there.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Ramsey today did not. You thought, okay, let's put him on Bowers. Okay, so that hasn't happened all year where they okay, let's unleash the Kraken and let's go put him on somebody and shut him down. They haven't done that with Ramsey. They haven't used him like everybody talked about it. And I talked about this with Veronis. But now here's a follow-up for you on this one. Any shot that at this point they don't want to show that and maybe they're saving it for the San Francisco 49ers or something like that? Or, I don't know, because today was the perfect day. Okay, that's the only dude that can hurt us. Let's just put Jalen on him and we'll adjust everything else. And that didn't happen. So are you trying to save this for a perfect moment or something? I don't know, because you haven't used the Swiss Army knife yet. You've kept it in your pocket.
No. I disagree. They've used him greatly. He did shadow somebody earlier this year, and I'm trying to think who it was. But what they do with Jalen Ramsey is they put him close to the ball, and we see him blitzing. And so on 1st and 10 from the 20, if the biggest threat for the offense is the outside receiver, they'll put Ramsey on the outside receiver. Now it's 2nd and 8. The biggest threat is the slot receiver. They'll put Jalen Ramsey on the slot receiver. And that's how they use Jalen Ramsey. It's you're not necessarily going to see he's on this guy the whole game. It's situational. And so that's how they move him around. So it changes. If it's 1st and 10 in the red zone, they might use him differently than 1st and 10 at the opponent's 40. And so, but that's how they want him close to the ball. They want him on, what they perceive as the biggest threat for that situation, or one of the biggest threats. They'll put him in the slot and blitz him, or they'll put him up there as an 8th man in the box because he's aggressive against the run. So I like what Weaver has done with Jalen Ramsey. I do think it's been very smart.
Well, they're not really using him to try to shut somebody down. So they're using him. I know that they move him around in that sense, but they're using him to offset the fact that they don't have a pass rush.
Well, that's part of it. They're using him as their best player on the field. This is a guy who is a cover corner, who has safety size, who can blitz, who can attack the run, who can cover a slot receiver, a big receiver, a speedy receiver, a tight end. He doesn't have a whole lot of help out there. You don't have Chubb, you don't have Phillips. A couple of games you didn't have Sealer, you haven't had Kohu, you haven't had Javon Holland. So sometimes he's kind of out there on his own, but I do like the way that Anthony Weaver has used him. I think I liked Vic Fangio, and Vic produced the number 10 defense with these guys. The fact that they didn't like Vic reflects poorly on those guys. Having said that, Anthony Weaver is using Jalen Ramsey much better and much more effectively than Vic Fangio ever dreamed of. Vic is set in his ways. Even in Philly, I don't think Vic is using the guy. He's still, he's stuck. He's right, exactly. So that's just kind of Vic. But and look, Ramsey has turned out to be an excellent player. For this team. He is. And you remember last year, he saved the Raiders game with the 2 interceptions, the one in the end zone, 22 seconds left. So he is a bona fide star.
He's a beast.
He is.
I just would have. This is the game where I would have put his ass on Bowers.
That would have been a very interesting strategy because Jacoby Myers isn't going to beat you. Brock Bowers will. And that would have been an interesting strategy from that standpoint. Yes.
And I haven't seen enough of that, especially for a defense that doesn't have a pass rush. Okay, is there a guy that's being a pain in the ass? All right, let's go put 5 on his ass, and let's have him shut him down right now, and then we can adjust to everything else after that. But I haven't seen that. It hasn't been. So I'm wondering if he's saving it for Debo or something.
If I looked at the schedule, I think I could figure out. Who did they put him on? He shadowed somebody earlier this season. He did. I would have to go back and look at the schedule. Was it DK? It was DK Metcalf. That's who it was. It was DK Metcalf up in Seattle. DK broke loose against Jordan Fuller on a busted play, and then his touchdown was a coverage bust by Javon Holland. Javon Holland bit, but he shadowed DK Metcalf. That's who it was. Right.
But did he have Metcalf the entire game?
Yes. The one that Jordan Fuller was on him. Seattle ran a play real fast, and the Dolphins were stuck with Metcalf on that side of the field with Fuller, and then the other one, Metcalf. It was zone coverage, and Javon Holland bit. So pretty much the whole, not literally every play.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I would have him go to the bathroom with the guy. I mean, I would have his shadow him the entire time.
Yeah.
But again, they're also, because it's a new defense.
Yep.
Here's the thing that I don't know. Weaver may not trust everybody else.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When you don't have Chubb and Phillips out there, and then you don't have Zach Sealer for a couple of games, and you don't have Cater, and you don't have Storm Duck. They were up in Buffalo with their third team nickel.
Yeah.
You don't have Sealer, Kohu, and Javon Holland or Storm Duck. You've got no hopes of stopping Josh Allen at his house. Yeah, no. Zero hope. Zero.
Yeah.
So but I do. We'll see. Look, this defense is doing all it can. It's been a very scrappy unit, and again, you don't have Phillips. You had Jalen, but you didn't have 100% of Jalen. He was coming back from the Achilles. Then he goes out with the knee, and you haven't had Chubb. So you've been fighting shorthanded the whole season. They've done an admirable job. Calais and Zach Sealer are just absolute beasts up there, and that's Jordan Brooks, another absolute beast. He'll probably never make a Pro Bowl, but he's going to have 100 tackles every year, and I think he's still played every single snap this season, the only defensive player to do that. So they've got some guys, but that defense is what it is, Big O. It's probably not going to end up as statistically as a top 10 defense like last year's, but it does what it can.
Are they overusing Achane? Because I'm really concerned.
You know what? I keep wanting to see more of Jalen Wright, Big O. I don't know why we don't. There's got to be something he doesn't understand in the offense, whether it's pass protection or something. But when that dude gets the ball, he makes stuff happen. But and I think that Mostert went to the locker room earlier today, and I didn't bother him and ask him what it was about. I was the only one to talk to him after the game. But, he missed 3 games. Mostert, I'm talking about, missed 3 games earlier this year with the chest. And so it's almost out of necessity, I think, is what we're seeing from Achane, that I think they've lost a little bit of trust in Mostert. They don't have enough trust in Jalen Wright. And so who's left? Devon Achane. Jeff Wilson's been inactive pretty much every game, I think every game. So, you really don't have much choice there.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, because I am concerned. I'd like to see Jalen. Yeah. Like I was just telling Furonis that in those first 2 drives, it's like 8-minute drives.
Right.
Those are wearing drives. And I get it. I get that running backs are rhythm players and all that kind of stuff, but man, that's a lot for a kid like Achan to be in there for those 2 drives. I would have loved to have seen Jalen Wright be used in throughout those first 2 drives, half the time to kind of take a little bit of the load off of. But I get it. Achan is intoxicating.
He is, and he can go on any play, as we know, any play he can break it. But Big O, I'm with you with Achan being on the smaller side, on the injury nicked up side. Yeah, get Jalen Wright as much work as you can against teams like the Raiders and the Patriots and the Jets, because against Houston and Green Bay and San Francisco, and I don't want to talk, beyond the Jets game on January 5th, because I don't know if there's going to be another game after that. I don't think there will be. But you need to get this guy some experience, Jalen Wright. I mean, so for the long haul, it's still a long season. You're in the middle of a long season. Again, Achan takes some shots, so I would feel better if Jalen Wright was better prepared if he has to step in there.
Maybe an unfair question, because it's usually better to see it after the game. The most you can tell about the offensive line play today?
Decent, I guess. Decent. Good enough. Tua was sacked twice. He's still holding on to the ball a little bit. He had to scramble a couple of times. I thought they kept Max Crosby under control. Yes.
He's done it a couple of times the last 2 weeks. Script.
That's it, baby. That's it. So, this offensive line will they're not a good unit. We know that. We just hope that they're going to be good enough, that they can play together well enough, that Teron Armstead stays healthy, because that's the key. Even as we see Austin Jackson out and Kendall Lamb in, Max Crosby doesn't kill you. That's because Kendall Lamb is a veteran. He can do his job. We saw what he did against Micah Parsons last year. I keep referring to that. I don't worry about Kendall Lamb.
No.
So it's the group, the 5-man group. We did see Aaron Brewer with a couple of holding penalties today, but I'm not worried about Aaron either. He's a grown man, right? He's a grown man. He can handle his own. It's really the 2 guards. And look, Liam Eichenberg on the right side and Robert Jones on the left side, they do good enough as long as you have Brewer and Kendall Lamb / Austin Jackson and Teron Armstead, right? You're not going to have 5 Pro Bowlers. To me, you get that skeletal structure correct, center and the two tackles, you can go below average at guard and get by in the NFL.
Yeah. And by the way, to Kendall Lamb's credit, he had a bitch of an assignment today. Bitch of an assignment today. Okay, so mad props to him, because that dude's a load to have to deal with the entire game. That's one crazy, energetic mofo
he
I've ever seen in my life. Do you worry about Calais Campbell playing too much?
Well, right now, I think when I looked last week, I want to say he was at, like maybe 45% of the snaps, or 56 or something like that, a decent number of snaps. So I'm not worried. No, not at this point. They've managed his snaps pretty well. You still do look at a 38-year-old, and you're still only halfway through the season, and you wonder how he's going to hold up. But look, this guy, he gets his veteran rest day every Wednesday, like Teron Armstead does, and the plan seems to be working. He's a guy who takes care of his body, so I'm not worried. I worry from the standpoint that he's 38 years old, not from the standpoint that, oh man, he's got an injury history and blah blah blah. It's just, you just worry that Father Time catches up to him, not necessarily an injury tendency or an injury wave or a bad knee that he's been battling for the last few years. Calais, a grown man, hopefully he makes it through the whole season at this same pace, because wow, what an addition.
By the way, I like his length against Jake Paul.
Oh yeah, there you go, man. There you go. He could keep Jake Paul away, couldn't he? Yeah, he could. And a defensive lineman, he knows he's got good hand. He can use those hands. How you always see him doing that. Doing the martial arts for the hands. So yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah. Propose that. Stick it out there.
I mean, listen, somebody from the Dolphins needs, or maybe Jimmy Butler retires we got a lot of
dude,
old.
come on. Tyreek. I think.
Messi's old. We got a lot of old athletes that can retire. Unfortunately, our hockey player left because we had
That's right.
the guy from the Penguins. What's his name? And we had him here for a few years. It's like
yes, the scorer. Yeah. Gosh, what was his name? I always forget his name. It's not Pavel Bure was the Russian Rocket. Yeah. He was the legend. He's going into the Hall of Fame.
I can't believe I'm brain farting
this
guy.
Me neither. And
Christ, but see, he's old enough to also fight Jake Paul. So we've got a lot of people that can fight Jake Paul. You know what?
Google, if I'm not mistaken, Tyreek has already extended an invitation. I think he did 2 years ago or something like that. I thought that he joked about that a couple of years ago. So we'll see.
Most of us will take an ass kicking for $20 million.
Heck yeah, Big O. Yeah.
Jim, in 5 more years, Jim Larinaga will be old enough to fight.
he could at least show Jake how to eat a sandwich, right? The proper way to eat a sandwich.
Proper way. The technique is you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
By the way, EJD Construction, call Eric 305-433-4843, fully insured, liability and workers' comp, and they are absolutely phenomenal. Dade, Broward County, call them. They don't work condos, so homeowners only. Quality work, affordability, shell construction in-house. That's how they keep the costs down for you. Call them 305-433-4843 or go to the Instagram page at EJD Construction. You can see a lot of their work there and call Eric. All right. Next week, Patriots. These are all games you've got to have. If you're going to hold out any hope for this playoff crap, you got to take care of these games now, Perk.
Definitely, 100%. And it was good to see him take care of business today in fairly comfortable fashion, right? This was, the Rams had the field goal last week, and they weren't going to win, but they scored late. This was, you could kind of exhale at the end of this game. So it appears that since Tua has been back, things are falling into place a lot better, and that's the way it should be. That's what you expect. Again, you've got to be good enough to beat Green Bay. So whatever is ailing you right now, you've got next week as the get-right game, and then you go into Green Bay for one of the biggest games on the schedule. And if you win that one and you get to 6-6, well, you're right where Buffalo was last year. Not saying you're going to reel off 5 straight and win the AFC East, but you just saw Buffalo do this last year. So, first things first. Kick the Patriots' butt next week, and then you have that showdown with Green Bay. But things are trending in the right direction right now. You got back-to-back wins for the first time this season.
Yeah, no, let's hope they can get it done. By the way, I challenged your coworker there. Okay.
Right. All right. Peronis, yeah.
Yeah. Because you guys have not challenged the Dolphins on this one. Okay. I could go down there and be the real dick. The Jalen Phillips thing was so mishandled when you really look at it. Okay, so the guy with the repaired Achilles tendon, so have a torn ligament before you put on the brace and then send him out on the field? Or did he limp over with a knee and then you put on a brace and then he tore it after? Either way,
that's what, yeah. But
you're irresponsible for sending him back out there. Okay, this is a player that didn't even have a full training camp, and you already put him out there on the field as it is, and he was coming back from a major surgery. So you didn't even give him the proper time to get in shape for the football season. You gave him enough snaps that you got intoxicated, like you get intoxicated with Achane, like you get intoxicated with Calais. And so now you overwork him, and the guy gets injured, and we don't know if the torn ligament was before or after. Either way, the fact that you just put on a brace and sent him back out there with a surgically repaired leg, that was a major red flag. I would imagine NFL PA and everybody would like to know the mishandling of that situation, because they mishandled Chubb last year by keeping him in a game that was meaningless at the end. And now you mishandled the return of Jalen Phillips. And this team desperately needs pass rushers, and they are mishandling their pass rushers. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the story on Jalen Phillips is that he sustains the knee injury. He goes to the sideline. They tell him, okay, they check out the knee and they say, we're going to slap a brace on it. You've got some damage, but you can't do any more damage to it. And obviously that was not the case. And so we don't know what the whole story is as we've tried to poke around. We haven't been able to find out the whole story, but that's
it doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter what it is.
What matters is finding the facts. You got to find the facts before you report it. No, so that's what we've been trying to do. But that's the story that we know is that he had the ailment. He goes to the sideline. They put a brace. They examine him. They put a brace on it, and their contention is you can't do any more damage. So the question becomes, were you misdiagnosed, or did they send you back out there with a season-ending injury? That to me is the question that we haven't been able to find the answer to yet.
Either way, it was irresponsible. You weren't supposed to send him out there. That's a surgically repaired leg. The guy limps to you. Yep. Bro, your night is done. It's over, my brother.
Well, that's
helmet, and we're going to get you treatment because you're too important to this team, and we're going to see if we can get you healthy so we can get you back. Not put on a brace and now you're done for the year, bro. That's irresponsible.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, again, you have to see where was the error in the initial diagnosis. Was it telling him that you're not going to do any more damage to it, or was it sending him out there with a season-ending injury? They knew the knee was damaged. It's what, where was the error? Was it in the diagnosis, thinking it wasn't damaged very much? Or was it in, well, he's got a torn ACL, he can't tear it any further, slap a brace on it and send him back out there? They knew the knee was damaged. It's just what was the level of damage and where does the blame lie? That's the question here that we haven't been able to find the answer to.
No, they're not going to give you anything because lawsuits and other things will get in the way of them to admit that, they mishandled it. Because
I don't know that Jalen Phillips is thinking. I don't know that he has a lawsuit, quite honestly. This is the life in the NFL. I mean, O.J. McDuffie had a lawsuit because of a botched surgery. Right. This is something different. Like this is kind of part of the game. Yeah. So
this is different, but Jalen's Jalen's like every other athlete. They're all guilty. They're all going to go back out there and play. Tyreek needs surgery, and he's playing.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what to think about that story, but anyway.
Oh no,
come on, Big O. Why do you have your right wrist taped and not your left? And you're claiming that the left wrist needs surgery, and today it's the right wrist that's taped. There's nothing on the left wrist.
Well, look how they're throwing him the ball. It's all for basket catching. The one in the end zone that the defender got to and was able to had to float it, because if he rifles it, you got to catch it like this. You can't catch it like this if you got a bad wrist.
Okay, he was catching like that pregame, and he spun a ball after he. This whole thing, Big O, is very suspicious. I'll say I've got more faith in the Jalen Phillips situation than this Tyreek left wrist. I'm not sure that there's a left wrist injury, but I would think there would be some kind of tape on it or something, and you wouldn't be spinning the ball after you catch it, and you're catching with two hands. He made a one-handed I put all this on Twitter. He made a one-handed left-handed catch before the game. I see no evidence of a left wrist injury, but look, I'm not a doctor.
Okay, but he's not catching it like that in games. Everything is basket. Everything throwing to him are all.
I'm just saying what I see in practice during the week and preseason, pregame.
And that floater in the end zone was one to basket catch, because if it was Waddle, he could have rifled it in there so you can actually catch it before the defender gets in there. But he just had to kind of loft it in there because he knows that Tyreek.
I'm not sure, Big O. We're talking about misdiagnosed. Let the dude rest for the Raiders game or the Patriots game then. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Like, do you really need him for these games? If he needs surgery after the season, why are you putting him out there against the Raiders and Patriots? Like, come on. Like, what's the truth here?
Well, they put a limping Jalen Phillips back into a game. I mean, so what's it?
Yeah, I guess you could be consistent. I guess that shows consistency, right? I guess that, with Tyreek and Jalen Phillips, I guess you're being consistent, right?
Oh, hey, Jalen, you've been practicing for a week and a half. Oh, you're ready for the NFL season. Let's go. You know, I mean, it's not like he had a real training camp either. You know,
I think Jalen was ready. I think Jalen was ready from the physical standpoint. He didn't get to 100%, but look, as cautious as this team has been with injuries, like Tua didn't go through training camp. Tyreek didn't go through training camp. Well, Waddle didn't go through training camp. Calais, Teron, Raheem, like they have been overly cautious with injuries. And so I don't, they didn't rush Jalen Phillips back in my opinion. Now, what you did on that particular night, I question. But I think he was ready to come back and work himself up to 100%. But yeah, how you handled his knee injury that particular night, yeah, there's a lot of room for question there.
I would have worked 100% before he takes the field. They were working on getting him to 100% while playing an NFL season, and you play a lot harder in an NFL game than you ever will practice. And so that's why I have my issues with that one. I just think that you could have saved the kid, and you could still have him right now if you actually handled it the right way. I feel bad for Jalen, man. I really feel bad.
I feel bad for Jalen, but I also wonder if Jalen is one of those guys who's just going to be battling injuries, whether it's a concussion or an Achilles or a knee, his whole career. You know, unfortunately, because a class act, a truly class act.
Oh God, yes, he's fantastic, and he's a freak talent, bro.
Yes, yeah.
You know, if he stays healthy, he's going to be special. If he stays healthy, he's going to be special because he's got a gift that the Lord gave him. That, oof, man, and he knows how to use it. That's the amazing.
Yeah.
He's a great person. Knows how to carry himself. All that kind of. I mean, he's just really the perfect human being, perfect athlete. He just needs the breaks of staying away from injuries. That's it.
And at this point, I wonder if Chubb and Phillips are ever going to get to 100% each and 100% together, because that's two injuries. You know, Chubb has had two ACLs, and now it's an Achilles and an ACL. Chubb is older, Phillips is not. But you just wonder if they will be at 100% together, like Tyreek and Jalen Waddle have been. You just wonder if Chubb and Phillips are ever going to get that chance to be that special set of bookends.
When is Chubb coming back? Is there any word at all?
None. He was in the locker room today. I've seen him in the locker room. I've gone over and dapped him up, and what's up. He looked great. Like, he looks like he's dropped like maybe 15 pounds. He's physically cut, but at a certain point, you have to wonder, is it worth it to bring him back? Because he hasn't had any training camp at all. So it's going to take him like 4 games to get into game shape. And if you start doing the math, you start wondering, is it worth it? Now, from Chubb's standpoint, I'm sure you want to come back in Isaiah Wynn from that standpoint, that you've been working. And even if you only play 3 games, I'm sure you want to see some reward for this year's worth of work that you've put in. But from the team standpoint, is that smart? You definitely need Bradley Chubb for next year, and his $21 million salary cap hit you can't make a error in judgment. You need his performance. You can't, you need that. That's a lot of money to be chewing up from a guy who's not 100%. So from Chubb's standpoint, with a 4-6 record, and I think from an organization standpoint, I want to see where we're at. But from Chubb's standpoint, a personal standpoint, he's probably like, look, just get me 2 or 3 games. I've been working my ass off here. I don't want to go a whole year without playing. But from an organization standpoint, is it worth it to play this guy 2 or 3?
No, I think it is, actually. I think for as long as you get him in shape, and then before he takes the field, he's close to 100% already. I think for confidence purposes and all that, to kind of get that off his mind, he plays a couple of games, feels good, and then he goes into the offseason with a different vibe because he got through that first hurdle of coming back from the injury. So personally, as long as he's healthy, I think it would be good. And by the way, if you keep winning, there is
here's the question.
There is a carrot dangling.
There is. Here's the question, Big O, because I look at the season now as a race to the nines, right? 9 wins or 9 losses. If you're at, I don't know, 6 and 9, do you bring Chubb back? 2 games left, you got 9 losses already. And he'd probably want to come back, but I would agree. Yeah, I would say you probably just sit him, but that's going to be tough to explain to Chubb. But you probably, from an organizational state, that's like playing them in a 56-19 game, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You already did that once to him. Why are you going to do it again? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if there's a carrot dangling.
Fewer than 9 losses. Yeah, I'm probably putting them out there, Big O, because you still got a shot. You still got a shot. And he's part of your best shot.
And it's good for him confidence-wise.
Yes, that's the thing. Because nobody wants to go through a whole year of rehab and you never get to take the field. So, yeah.
Right. And then you won't find out till game 1 how you feel and all that.
Correct.
Now he gets it out of the way. But, again, carrot has to be dangling. And for now, that's what they're doing. What are you working on in the Sun Sentinel?
Well, for tomorrow, I'm going to take a look at the offensive performance that we've seen the last few weeks and wonder, is it good enough to beat Houston and San Francisco and Green Bay and really that's the big thing. So that's kind of what I'm working on for tomorrow. And down the road, I might revisit a jersey swap story that I did a few years ago. And you see it all the time. You see players with different jerseys in their locker during the week. Of course, the Eichenbergs traded jerseys today. Liam and Tommy, his younger brother Tommy, who plays for the Raiders. I saw Tommy's jersey and Liam's spot there. So I might start to revisit that story. I'll see what I've got, see who's got some interesting jerseys and some interesting stories to tell. But that's it. That's it for the week so far.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Good stuff. Follow him on Twitter at Chris Perk. Catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Chris, as always, my brother, have a fantastic week. We will catch up next Sunday, my friend.
All right, Big O. Have a good one, man.
Thank you, sir. There you go, Chris Perkins. Call our friends at EJD Construction, 305-433-4843. Dade or Broward County, custom home construction, major home remodeling. Call them, ejdconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.